what is our goal? Do we want to escalate the war? More Ukrainians die? More destruction? Or do we want to move towards a peaceful negotiated settlement? One of the most respected individuals in the U.S. diplomatic corps, Ambassador Chaz Freeman, highly respected, properly individual with a wonderful record. A couple days ago, he came out in an interview and said, U.S. policy seems to be to fight the Russians to the last Ukrainian. That's the policy. We'll keep, if we've formulated no feasible goals that can lead to an exit from this tragedy. So we can keep pouring in arms, we're good at that, to escalate the fighting. More Ukrainians will die, more Russians will die, goes nowhere, just towards further escalation. Well, is there a possible diplomatic settlement? Yes, there is. Chaz Freeman outlined it once again. Everyone knows what it is. The settlement, this has been going on for 30 years, I should say, not just started today. The settlement is, in rough outline, a neutralized Ukraine, not part of a military bloc, and an internal settlement that will guarantee the rights of the Russian-speaking minority, provide probably some form of federal solution like Switzerland, Belgium, others, in which minority groups have a degree of autonomy in their own regions. It's actually formulated in an agreement called Minsk II. Some version of that has to be the possible outcome. And as Freeman again stressed, if we don't want to just fight to the last Ukrainian, we have to offer Vladimir Putin an escape hatch. He has to have some way to escape from this without what amounts to suicide. If we tell him, or if we send our current message, you're going to face war crimes trials, nothing you can do about it. Sanctions will continue no matter what happens. We're telling him, fight on to the last Ukrainian. It might sound bold and, Winston Churchill impersonation. Sounds very heroic, but for the Ukrainians, it's a death warrant. We have to come out with a proposal. We have to support, I should say, the proposals that are on the table, have been for a long time, for a settlement that offers Putin some kind of escape. Like it or not, that's a necessity. And it will have to be based on neutralization of Ukraine and some kind of diplomatic arrangement for a degree of autonomy for the Russian-oriented areas. Those things are on the table. U.S. isn't supporting them. The U.S. actually has an official policy. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to have been reported in the United States press, though at least I can't find it. But the policy is there. You can read it in government documents. Actually, I've quoted it repeatedly in things I've been writing. The policy was set in September 2021. September 1st, 2021, there was a joint statement of the U.S. and Ukraine. Notice this is a couple of months before the Russian invasion. The document is basically a policy statement of the United States, reiterating and amplifying the policy that had been in effect for many years. It's worth reading. first says the door to Ukrainian entry into NATO is wide open. We're inviting you to join NATO. And it says the United States will intensify the sending of advanced military weapons to Ukraine. It will continue with joint military efforts in Ukraine, U.S., it's called NATO, but it means U.S. Ukrainian military operations. All of this placing weapons within Ukraine aimed at Russia. All of this is part of the enhanced NATO admissions program. You should really look at the exact wording. I'm paraphrasing it, but it's roughly that. Well, that's a call for the horrors that have followed.